A normal high school boy who is just trying to impress his pretty classmate, ends up being intertwined by a grand chef demon. With no skills and no interest of cooking, he then become the greatest cook in the world with the help of a connoisseur from hell. The story begins with a mysterious figure floating outside a prestigious restaurant. A chef also dies and his soul has been consumed by the said figure. It didn't like the taste and wonders if he can have a tasty one someday. The main character Satoru, a high school student preparing for a school exam. Then he's been reprimanded by his teacher for not taking seriously about his studies. He's the shortest kid in his peers, so he says no to sports and he says no to confessing his love also. Basically, he says no to every opportunity that comes along his way. Back at home, his elder sister Aya prepares a meal for him. But Satoru hates fish for food, so he intentionally disposes it in the trash. A gust of wind blows suddenly comes to his direction, and then is surprised to see a rising hand holding a flaming dish on a plate. On top of that, a mysterious man appears before him out of the trash bin and the hero doesn't even know what to do in that situation. It then speaks to it telling him to eat the fish. Now that demon fish is trying to go to his mouth by force. Next he goes to his room and the demon follows him there. Satoru asks, "Who are you?" So the mysterious man introduces himself as Dogma. As if the hero is having a nightmare, he becomes frightened to his core. Then the demon lets him know that he should rejoice, cause he will make him a vessel of a true chef. He added, "It's very simple, I shall train you to be a true chef. And then I will eat you." Hearing this, Satoru gets mad, that the demon should eat a real professional cook instead. Sadly he did, but according to his connoisseur taste, their soul are mixed with greed and arrogance and he didn't like it. So he decided why not train one from a scratch. Satoru tries to escape by exiting the window, but he can't do it since it's more terrifying that awaits for him below. The next morning, the demon is still bothering him and follows him everywhere he goes. Then comes along Haka, a classmate who is also his longtime crush. The girl mentions that her family recently moved near the place, and happens to notice a new restaurant that has the most expensive hamburger ever. Satoru shouts upon seeing the high price tag, but the girl is really passionate of what she is eating since life is short and what you eat matters the most. So off she goes to that resto, and Dogma orders him that he should go as well. He added, "It's a perfect time for the boy to practice." Inside now the Versailles kitchen, an executive chef named Sakamaki is pressuring his staff since they're already behind schedule preparing the meal. One employee says that the limited tickets are all sold out and the chef smiles for a successful day. The chef then boasts about having only the most expensive ingredients, and that's how he already knew of course the people will love his cooking. Out of nowhere, Satoru only laughs and mocks him from behind, and then magically throws the dish towards the face of the executive chef. Everyone is in shock and Sakamaki shows his angry face. The hero is confused, now realizing Dogma is now in full control of his body like a marionette. So with a possessed body, the demon insults the chef's dish comparing it to an inferior trash, and then arrogantly challenges Sakamaki to a hamburger duel, but Satoru will only be using the scraps from his kitchen. Meanwhile, the customers outside are becoming impatient, then they are hearing about the hamburger duel. This angers Sakamaki, but he didn't back down and dares to accept the challenge of the boy. In the locker room, Satoru is panicking because if he loses, the chef will give him to the police for wasting his time. On top of that, he doesn't even know how to cook. "Relax," Dogma says, "just do everything I'll tell you to do in the kitchen." The demon added, he consumes a lot of souls of countless chefs and even absorbed their skills and memories. Then he releases all his minions to force the boy to go outside and cook in the kitchen. Soon later, the chef intimidates the hero and says he's a 40-year-old veteran cook, so do not underestimate my skill. The possessed Satoru just smiles, telling him he's a fool for relying on his old age in cooking. The duel starts and the boy is clueless on what to do next. Then Dogma instructs him to strip the meat out of the bones lying on the sink. Next he collects some scraps that the chef didn't use for his dish, and use it to mix it in his own as ingredients. The demon now tells him to find a knife and mince repeatedly of the meat he collected. Satoru then shows him to use the meat grinder instead, but Dogma just breaks it and forces him to do the manual work. The hero uses every ounce of his energy to do hard labor until his arms couldn't move anymore. But the demon says every time that he stops, the big mosquitoes will bite him, and so he continues. While frying the burger, Satoru asks when will he flip the meat. Suddenly, the lights turns off and it's because the chef is cheating out of the boy. The hero is worried because he cannot see the color of the meat, and it might get burned. "Don't worry," Dogma says, "there's another way on how to do it. Use your ear and when you hear the first juice drop of the meat hitting the pan, flip it over." He then listens to it carefully, and as soon as he hears it, Satoru realized that he can cook this burger by another means. The time comes and the cheater Sakamaki explains of why this is a special occasion for his patrons. Then appears Satoru that looks beat up, but still have a dish to serve the judges. First is the chef's dish, the Versailles special hamburger steak à la royale, a dish fit for a king because he only used the finest filet mignon, sautéed in the best foie gras, with sauce made from truffles hidden in the highest peaks of France and topped it with gold leaf for your enjoyment. All of the judges really loves the dish, one even says that his mom's cook can't even compare to this dish. Haka is also surprised to the taste of that hamburger. The chef laughs claiming his early victory. Now the hero's dish. It's a simple-looking hamburger that piques the interest of the judges. After one small bite, some can't even believe what they have tasted. One commented the balance of sweet and savory resonates in perfect harmony. Satoru nearby is just in heaven seeing his crush tasting his prepared dish. Then one shouts loudly that the burger is amazing and everyone agrees. The hero is happy. A dish made by him was praised by his own hand. Sakamaki refuses to believe it, so he took a bite also. He then sheds a tear, not believing that it's definitely better than his dish. Satoru, being possessed, explains to all, it's because it is mixed with the cow's kidney fat that the chefs threw away. Kidney fat has a low melting point, and when you combine it with a minced meat, the savoriness of the meat itself will be elevated. If you're willing to put in the time and effort, the dish will surely be delicious. Satoru smiles at the chef knowing he wins their duel. Haka is happy too, seeing her friend wins the match. But more importantly, she's still hungry and just wants another hamburger. The day after, Satoru is a total wreck when it comes to choices, especially in filling up the career choice form. Looking at the paper, he reads something that caught his attention and then looking for what school it is. After finding it, it's like the heaven hears his prayer of finally getting rid of the demon. Next, at the National High School for Farming and Cooking, it is wide known to be a giant campus that it'll take you 3 days to walk around the school. It is also divided into 4 departments: the service, the biological, the agricultural, and lastly the cooking department, where the most influential chefs graduated. The campus is vibrant with full of activities and Satoru is just amazed seeing it. Actually, Satoru's plan is to let Dogma meet the countless chefs in one place, and hopefully he will let go of him and haunt somebody else instead. As soon as the hero opens the door, the blazing pressure of hot smoke greeted him, and now seeing countless of students learning the intensity of cooking. Satoru is shocked. It is like a battlefield, he says, and that he never knew such a world existed. Then he noticed the demon smiles, and he's expecting this is the time he will be free. But the opposite happens. He possesses the boy once again and shouts on stage that all should bow down to your new master of cooking. Of course many people got annoyed, and the teacher told him to be quiet and just watch. But Dogma wants another duel again, challenging the most accomplished chef in this school. A student named Murasaki got pumped up hearing it and accepted the challenge. Then enters Naomi. She is also the department head of the cooking school, wanting to see the duel, so she brought loads of potatoes with her. She handed the heavy box to Satoru, saying he got some guts challenging her department. But if he wins, Satoru will have a chance to snatch a place with one of her students.